I'm back to finally talk about Fast and Furious 9. We've finally got to the most recent one. Just come out in cinemas about a week ago as I'm posting this. And you know what, it was quite good. It was really exciting to see a Fast and Furious film in the cinema, because it's the first one I've seen in the cinema. But the film overall, it was good. It was definitely better than 8 was, but I did have a few sort of minor issues with it, but definitely an improvement on Fast and Furious 8. So let's get on to the review and see what I thought of it. The plot of this new film is that Brian and Letty have settled down with their child, Brian Jr., and they live in the quiet life, and then suddenly they get approached to do a mission, and at first they're quite reluctant to leave this sort of nice farm life that they've built up. But then they find out that it's actually Dom's long lost brother is who they're hunting down, who's played by John Cena in this film. This film, like with the other ones, there's quite a lot of stunts. In this one, I think they're really good, but in a weird way they almost become a parody of themselves in this film. Without sort of spoiling the last stunt, I mean it's in the trailers, so you know, if you've seen the trailers you kind of know what I'm talking about. The very last sort of big stunt is absurd. It's really good and it's really funny, but it's not like, you know, it's not just them flipping cars now. It's a bit more, you know, sciencey, I guess. It's like the cameo of the characters from one of the other films, I won't spoil who they are, that came and helped them engineer this more sciencey stuff, as well as sort of Tej and Roman having sort of more of a bigger role in that stunt. Because at the end there's kind of two things happening at the same time, and I think it really was quite good actually. I did quite enjoy it. I am going to touch on John Cena as sort of the main kind of villain in this film. He was good. He was a good actor in it. He, you know, was fine, but his character was just a bit nothing. Like he, you know, we do actually see a lot of flashbacks of him and Dom as children, which was really good to kind of get more of their backstory in this film, and find out why, you know, they became so estranged and what actually happened. And we find out more about Dom as well and his dad. But yeah, it just something was missing from it. It didn't feel quite as emotionally impactful as I think they were expecting it to be. The flashbacks were done really well, but yeah, it just didn't. He just is hardly in the film. He's sort of, you know, meant to be the big thing they're chasing, but he pops up a few times, but his presence just was not quite as big as I thought it was going to be. So I was a little bit underwhelmed with that. This film you definitely need to have watched at least the last 8 instalments. This one's not really related to Hobbs and Shaw, but to get sort of the most out of it, because like I say, there's a few cameos from other films, and it sort of draws back to some of the other films and is a direct continuation of 8. And yeah, I think definitely if you're a Fast and Furious fan, and like I say, you've seen all the rest of them, you'll definitely get a lot of enjoyment from it. But if you've not seen the other ones, you could still enjoy it, but I think some of the bits in it just would not make us quite as much sense. They're sort of, you know, these characters that, you know, might come back from the dead or pop back up or have been in other films. It won't kind of have like the emotional gravitas if you've not seen the other films. I like that Mia's reintroduced in this film. She's not been in it since Fast and Furious 7 when she left with Paul Walker's character to go and live their life. And they do sort of have a little brief mention of him in this film. Obviously we don't actually see him, but yeah, it was nice to kind of, you know, that they're still living off their nice life, and she was really good in this film as well. I think she teams up with Letty really well, and they have a scene where they go to Tokyo and there's a little fight scene. And I thought that was quite good actually. I quite enjoyed, you know, watching them together, and they, you know, they have a couple of conversations where they actually, because obviously Mia is Dom's sister and Letty is Dom's wife, and to see them still have this kind of bond because they've known each other for years and years was really, really nice. I did like that. This film also has, it's not really a spoiler, I'm going to talk about it because it's in the trailers. Han is back from the dead in this film, and he's probably one of my favourite Fast and Furious characters in the later films. Not necessarily in Tokyo Drift, but I think sort of as they kind of set up their timeline a bit better, he really does come into his own and is, you know, quite a big part of their team. So to see him back was really good. The way he came back, I mean, I guess it makes sense for this film. It's a bit like, really, sort of thing, but you know, these films have got cars like flipping everywhere, so a man faking his death is probably the most realistic thing in these films. Which actually, I guess there's another fake out death in this film, so you know, there's a fake out death in this film, and it's like they try and make it heartfelt and sort of, you know, like the person's actually going to die, but we know they're not going to die. You know, it's one of the main characters of the team. You know, we know they're not dead, but you know that happens in this film, and that's a bit of a ridiculous scene. I think the main villain's plan in this film as well was not quite fleshed out enough. Like, they didn't really have, or John Cena and the other sort of villain didn't really have any real motivation as to why they were doing what they were doing. Like, the weapon that they were after was to control satellites and all that sort of stuff, but that didn't really, to be honest, wouldn't have had much of an impact for Dom's brother, more for the sort of the side villain. But you know, like, he would have got this weapon and then, you know, I don't know, he didn't really seem to have much motivation as to why he was doing what he was doing. But like I said, John Cena was good in the role. It just didn't really 100% work, and he's a bit underutilised. Overall, I really enjoyed Fast and Furious 9. It's not quite as good as some of sort of 5 and 6. It's definitely better than the last one, which was Fast and Furious 8. But it became slightly too self-aware in this film, and it kind of almost becomes a parody of itself. That does, you know, result in some good jokes and some good humour, but there's one Star Wars metaphor that goes on for much too long, way too long. And some of the jokes just didn't quite land. They do a fake out death that doesn't really have much weight to it. John Cena is good as Dom's brother, but he just is really underutilised in it. But the stunts are really good. I'm not going to spoil the ending stunts, but both of them are really quite good, and they had a lot of humour and they're quite clever. But yeah, it was just a few little things that were missing. Hobbs and Shaw review should be up in the next few days, and once I've done that, then will rank them all. I would watch this one again. I'd definitely watch it over 8. But yeah, just a few little things just didn't quite correlate for me. But yeah, overall I enjoyed it. That's my review. Let me know what you thought, whether you enjoyed it, or you know, which one's your favourite in the comments below. And I will see you next time. Bye!